Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Novella and I felt like chatting today. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Remco Evenepoel has won the World Championship cycling, or I don't know. And I scratched myself. Is it here or here? Can't see. I scratched myself last night. Didn't know. I woke up with it, so I don't know how I did that. But anyways, I felt like chatting, so I don't know where this video will go. We'll see, and maybe it gets uploaded, maybe it doesn't. That's how it goes. But there's a book that I've mentioned quite a few times already on my channel, and it's this one. It's The Kindly Ones by Jonathan Littell. Jonathan Littell is a writer with, I believe he has the French and American nationality, and he wrote this book first in French as Le Bienveillant, and then afterwards it came out in English. I believe yeah. It was translated from the French by Charlotte Mandel. And why am I talking about this book? Well, I just read Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, and I constantly had to think about this book. Now, it has nothing to do with each other. It's not a copy or the same story. And yet it has the same vibe and the same feel. So a book that I will never forget. I've read this when it came out, which was in 2009. Oh, no. 2006. So it's 16 years ago. And I never forgot about it. I haven't read it since, reread it since. But yeah, it's an amazing book. So this book contains the most evil protagonist ever. His name is Dr. Max Auer. Max Auer is now, when he starts, when the book starts, is a family man, and he owns a lace company or a lace factory or something in post-war France. And he is looking back to at his past, where he was a Nazi. He was SS, and he was an intelligence officer, I believe. And he tells his story, what he did, the atrocities that he did, the gruesome stuff, horrible stuff that he did, with so much precision and with so much pleasure. It blew my mind, and this is such a masterpiece. This book is not for the faint-hearted, but it is a must-read. It is fun. No, I'm not going to say the word. It is so over the top, but just right. And yeah, it's a must-read. I haven't seen this many times on BookTube. I believe Traveling Through Books, yeah, has put up a review not that long ago. He didn't like it that much because it was too much. But for me, it's an absolute masterpiece. This is in my top 10 ever, in my top 5 ever. Of all the books I've read, and I read a lot of books, but this is and will remain in my top 5 ever. He hasn't read much afterwards. I think he has read a lot afterwards, but not written much afterwards, or he didn't came to the same heights as he did with this one, but or the same level. But yeah, it's such a book that it will leave you breathless. It's a tour de force. This is absolute must read. But you have to have a stomach for it. And now I feel a bit like Ollie from Ollie Criminoli. I found some great little books that Ollie must love. I never bought these. They are printed in the 60s, I believe. Oh no, this one is printed in 1942. This one is written by William Somerset Maugham, The Hour Before the Dawn. Here is the passionate, unforgettable told story of a man and a woman who tried to create their own island of love in the midst of war blazing inferno. And then The Two Faces of January. It's a story. It's a book by Patricia Highsmith. This one is printed in 64. And yeah, it's also a movie, and I've seen it very recently. I was surprised that it was by her. I didn't know when I watched it. I love this cover, The Blunderer. Sounds like me. Excuse me. Walter imagined Clara putting her newspaper down, leaning her head back, as she sometimes did, for a minute to rest her eyes. He imagined his hands closing around her small throat. What kind of courage did it take to commit a murder? What degree of hatred? Did he have enough? Not simply hatred, he knew, but a particular tangle of forces of which hatred was only one. They paid for 4 Deutschmark for this one. It is printed in 67, so 55 years old. And then I found, so this is a bit late for Criminali's event, but hey, doesn't matter. I like them. I think they're cute. And then, this was less than €1 for all 3 of them. And then this one, I have never read a Margaret Atwood. Never. I don't know why, but this will be the first, I think, that I will read about or of Margaret Atwood. I'm really curious. The Blind Assassin. 10 days after the war ended, my sister Laura drove a car off a bridge. More than 50 years on, Iris Chase is remembering Laura's mysterious death, and so begins an extraordinary and compelling story of 2 sisters and their secrets. Set against a panoramic backdrop of the 20th century history, The Blind Assassin is an epic tale of memory, intrigue, and betrayal. It sounds really interesting. I know Atwood's work, but I don't like the dystopian stuff, because for me it's a bit like how do you call it, a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I don't want to give that energy or even more energy. It's like her books are like predictions sometimes, and I don't want to propel that even more. And I have the last Patricia Highsmith, because I've told you before, I want to do next year a Patricia Highsmith year. So I'm trying to find every book she has written and read everything in that year. So 2023 will be my Patricia Highsmith year. So I bought this one too, so also for €1. It's a small G, it's her last. It was refused by her American publisher. It was her last novel. And it opens in Zurich with the chilling murder of Ricky Mark Walder's lover, P.T. Ritter. 6 months later, the investigation of the murder has failed to produce a suspect, and Ricky has retreated to Jacob's, a local bar with his dancing dog Lulu. Here we meet the novel's bizarre protagonists. Among them, Louisa, who seeks Ricky's help in freeing herself from the control of her tyrannical boss, Renate. The results are once hilarious and unexpected. A summer reverie executed with Highsmith's characteristic penchant for darkness, small g cements her reputation as one of America's finest writers. Characteristic. Sometimes it's a difficult language too. Karakteristieken. Oh yeah, the word Coffeeklatch. Coffeeklatch is, well, normally we say Coffeeklatch, and that's when we sit down in the afternoon, have a coffee and a cookie. I don't have cookies, but still we sit down with a coffee and we chit-chat. So it's coffee chit-chat. And then a book that I want to read next week is this one. I love the cover. What a face! What a face! So Helen Rappaport is an author that is mostly writing nonfiction, or only writing nonfiction, I believe. And she was fascinated by the story of Mary Seacole. Mary Seacole was, in her time, very well known. She was a Jamaican nurse who came to England to volunteer, and then she went to the Crimean War, and she was one of those fabulous women who actually revolutionized the profession of nursing, being a nurse, or the nursing profession. And she apparently was a bit of she wasn't Florence Nightingale's best friend, let's say. Let's keep it to that. And yeah, well, Mary Seacole, of course, in what was it, like 1855, mid 19th century, not a lot of people would have seen a black woman before, and even one with a nurse, and who is a nurse and who is educated, and who is revolutionizing the way the medical world, in a way. And she was very well respected back in the UK, and but she kind of was forgotten after a while. After her death, people forgot about her, and they only talked about Florence Nightingale. And Helen Rappaport was always fascinated by her story. She also found this portrait. She bought it and she gave it to the National Portrait Gallery. She now wrote her biography. I am absolutely fascinated by the time period, so I'm really looking forward to read about Mary Seacole. She must have been one formidable woman. This is her photograph. So yeah, really looking forward. On the 9th of March, 1855, a small announcement was made by William Howard Russell, special correspondent of the Times, who had been embedded throughout with British troops in the camp outside Sebastopol. Inter alia, we are to have an hotel at Balaclava. It is to be conducted by Mrs. Seacole, late of Jamaica. When Russell's dispatch was syndicated across the British press, nearly every paper amended the sex of the entrepreneur in question to Mr. Seacole. How could any respectable woman possibly entertain setting up a hotel at the seat of war, and alone, and unaccompanied at that? I love those women. Really looking forward to this one. It's candy. So yeah, that's a bit about it. I didn't get any sleep, or hardly, because of the World Championship cycling. I know, it's not the most important thing in the world, but it's a fun thing in the world. So I really enjoy cycling myself. And I love the sport. So the women as well as the men, I love it. I love it. And I am not the kind of, I just root for the best. I mean, if it's Pogacar or Evenepoel or Van Aert or Van der Poel, I don't care. It's so beautiful, and it's so heroic often, especially when it rains, and like races like a Paris-Roubaix. I've been watching that since I was 5 or 6, so I just love it. And that's about it. I don't have anything else interesting to say. I think I just wish everybody the best, and a really good Sunday. And hopefully you can do a nice walk or a cycle or visit a museum or be with your family. I can't because I have a cold and people are looking funny at me, even though if you're wearing a mask, so I stay at home right now. And on Wednesday, I'm gonna celebrate with my family. It's my father's 87th birthday, and he cycles to this day, every day, no matter what the weather, 40 kilometers a day. And not with an e-bike, with a normal bike. 87. Can you imagine? I love it. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.